Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and today the newest Godzilla movie comes out, Godzilla x Kong, which better have them going on a date or I want a refund, cause why else would they put an X between their names in the title? Shipping rules, baby. But with its release, we actually have another collab with Dempsey J Illustrations, Popcross Studios, Comics Inc., and KyngPin Creations, where me, DMZJ, Nerd Comics, and KyngPin each gave the group one Godzilla Monster / Kaiju to use for our videos, and Popcross then gave each of us a different version of Godzilla to do alongside them. And today, I'll be turning these 5 Kaiju into fantasy armor. For the first time doing this, it was fun, though a bit challenging at times, but glad I was able to join in on the collab and love what I came up with. Anyways, let's check out our Godzilla fantasy armor, shall we? Ugh, what happened? Ah, you're finally awake. I better not be in a horse-drawn cart about to be dragged to an execution, claiming I was trying to cross the border. What an interesting and very specific scenario you came up with. It's from a... Never mind. Where am I? Well, you're in my tavern and blacksmith shop. Some sort of portal opened up in here and you fell out. Name's Galvyn. Amelia. I was reading this grimoire-looking book and said one passage out loud and blacked out. That's an interesting story, and I know interesting stories. I've gotten a whole lot from my clients. How about I get you a drink and I can tell you some? That would be appreciated. Wait, is that coffee I smell? Yep, I'm one of the best brewers of it around. How does a clearly fantasy-looking world have coffee? You've ever looked up the history of coffee? No. Guess it's not important. No worries. Proceed with these stories. Gotcha. So this first customer I'll talk about traveled from far away looking for some high-quality armor. His name was Batryu, and he came from an ancient civilization in the Pacific Ocean that resided on Infant Island. Infant Island? That sounds familiar. And wait, the Pacific Ocean? I assume you're familiar with it? Yeah, it's one of the oceans from my world. So am I in a fantasy version of my world? Seems a bit like it. But this warrior was a prince of the ruling family of Infant Island, though his older sister will of course inherit the throne once their mom passes. Anyways, he came looking for strong magical armor and gave me a description, claiming it to be based off an ancient god that was once worshipped by his people. I'm not getting some good vibes from this, so I made him this black, red, and gold suit of armor, making it kind of bug-themed, and getting some inspirations from samurai helmets with it. Gave him a spear bident thing that could both discharge energy and shoot electrical prism beams, and use magic on this horn I put on the helmet to allow him to shoot energy balls if need to. Yeah, I'm getting some red flags with this story. Well, Batryu was happy with the results, so he paid me for it, and warned me about another warrior he believed could be trouble before he headed out. Of course, he was trying to make sure I didn't make an armor for his sister if she survived his regicide. What? Wait, why am I surprised? I could tell this would happen. Yeah, I should have known when I looked into this god and saw him do a lot of evil stuff before being vanquished by their primary deity. But don't worry. While my armor is amazing, he didn't have the skills and stuff to beat his sister in one-on-one combat, so he's currently in their dungeons. Had to write a big formal apology and a promise of a good deal on any armor they may need for almost helping in this regicide. But think I'll get more customers still from this. You know, with the way the armor was described, his name, and the island he's from, this all sounds familiar. I can show you the armor on my M-Mirror. Huh, a fantasy version of a cell phone using a magic mirror as the base. Interesting. Let me just pull it up and here. I know I'm glossing over the whole magic is real thing I should be doing, but I used a book to teleport me to another world, so I'm past all that. Why does this armor look like Batara? Batra? Never heard of it. Okay, first you do a Skyrim reference, then make a Godzilla Kaiju as a suit of armor, and now you make a Ninjago reference? Are you... okay? Not really. You somehow turned the Dark Moth Kaiju Batara into a set of fantasy armor. Holy crap, his name was Batryu. Not that far off from Batara. And he's from Infant Island, and his sister's most likely Mafra. So you want me to move on to another set of armor I did? Yeah, that was just a weird coincidence. Okay then. So I was tasked by this army to make armor for their captains and generals. You know, give the important people armor that makes it harder for them to be killed and all. Wouldn't that also make them the primary targets to be killed by their enemies? Who am I kidding? People are prideful, so they would of course do this in any setting. So I make them the armor they want, and as I work on the last guys... Wait, what about the other captains? They're not that important to the story. And they were okay armors, but felt more standard in looks. But this guy, he wanted a bestial skull motif for the helmet with 2 striped horns, and wanted the pauldrons to be half skulls with some rounded parts too. With that, used a lot of white and vague bone-looking parts with the armor's design. Did you make him a weapon too? Yeah, a twin set of swords, using sharpened chunks of meteor as a blade. Just the chunks? Not melted down into a metal? The customer wanted them like that, and who am I to judge? You can still judge them on it. I guess so. But this army soon left and attacked Japan to expected results. How so? I've gotten quite a few customers from there, so they have plenty of powerful warriors to fight them off. Heck, the princess from Infant Island even helped against their attack. So this guy also had a kaiju-inspired armor. What was his name? Didn't get one. Everyone called him X, though I thought someone called him Kaiser at one point. Does this look familiar? Not really? But I'm putting the $4.20 I have on me that this is some form of kaiju.
Good evening, everyone. I have been brought here and am now being forced to inform you all for some reason that the being known as Knight of Arcane is going to be illustrating an altered version of the entity called Godzilla -1. And now that I have said that, I am hoping that I can leave.
Yeah, no, that's great, Dresden. But before you go, would you mind telling people to like and subscribe to Knight of Arcane?
Yes, I would mind.
What was that? What was what? Didn't you hear that voice? What voice? That tired, sounds done with his life like he's been alive for millennia and was forced to do something that made no sense to him voice? And for some reason mentioned Godzilla -1? Actually, I think there was a second voice there for a second too. I mean, it was only 5 seconds after you made your bet before you asked about this mysterious voice. I must be hearing things. Been a stressful day. Don't worry about it. Please proceed to the next armor. No problem. So this next warrior is from a long line of warriors and conquerors from Japan. Oh no. She wasn't the first member of the Jira clan I've made armor for, but she did seem a bit ruthless. Wait, she? Correct. Even though I'm probably going crazy with that voice I heard, I assumed this next person would be the newest Godzilla, not Zilla. Zilla does sound familiar. Think I did an armor for someone with that name. She was more Leaf and wanted a more dexterous suit of armor. Minasu had more bulk and muscles and wanted some intimidating armor. That's just the Japanese word for minus. She's a fierce warrior, doesn't really seem to care for people, so she wanted to have a suit of armor that was just as terrifying. So tried to give it a dragon lizard look, especially with the helmet's face guard looking like a dragon's face. Honestly fits really well. I decided for some details to put a few scale-like patterns on the armor, mainly under the pauldrons, stomach, and neck guard, and a lot of little spikes. Wouldn't want to get a hug from her. Yeah, you'd be impaled for sure. She also wanted these big spikes on the back of the armor, which isn't practical, but do think they help with the look. Made them a copper-like color like the rest of the armor. It's honestly a bit weird to think of Godzilla being that color, instead of the gray, bluish gray he's usually seen as in the other movies. Do think it works. The only spikes I gave that weren't that color were the ones on the gauntlets, waist armor, and on the helmet. I actually used these gems she gave me for her sword to make those spikes. What do these gems do? Well, they store up energy from the sun, so still using radiation, got it. And using the magic embedded in the armor, and her clan's own magic, they can then be used to fire a devastating beam of energy from her wicked and spiked sword. You know when they're ready when the gems pop out of the sword before popping back in when the beam is released. That is kinda terrifying. Yeah, would not want to mess with her. Her back must be killing her with those metal back spikes though. Nah, she has a natural counterbalance for them. Oh, okay. Excuse me, what? What did you mean she had a natural counterbalance? Are you talking about her? Oh wow, we should probably start on the next customer I had. You can't just change the subject like that. Yes, I can. So this young warrior is very into plants. Okay, it's Biolante, but don't Erica Lante Jira. If I can compare her to the plants she liked, I'd say she was a rose mixed with a Venus flytrap. Stop. You know, I can see you really don't want to talk about the big muscular warrior you probably had a crush on. So let's go on. Though, have no idea what any of the words you just said meant. Yeah, me neither. Though she is dangerous, but unassuming looking. Good for her, and wait a minute. She's part of the Jira clan? Correct. Yep, definitely Biolante then. Not sure what that means, but Erica seemed to be the most quiet and reserved member of the Jira clan I've met so far, especially compared to Minasu, and didn't seem to care too much for fighting. But remember the group I made armor for? The ones that attacked Japan, so they most likely got into a fight with the Jira clan, meaning you most likely made armor for both sides of the conflict, and because of their attack, you most likely also made armor for Erica? Right on the money. Wasn't that hard to guess. I got the idea to use this sort of vine pattern to break up parts of the armor, that I was able to give a nice orange and red gradient due to how I worked these parts of the metal, and used it mainly on the torso, pauldrons, and waist armor. Huh. Sounds pretty cool. Yep. Did that pattern but on some green metal for her upper legs, and had the top of her armor around the collarbone and her boots be covered in little spikes. Actually put a lot of spikes on her armor. Mostly made from bones. Put a lot of those around her face and under the pauldrons. Yep. Sounds like Biolante's head being referenced. She really wanted a long waist cape with spikes that looked like teeth, and I said to her, "You're crazy? You're a genius." A perfect way to help make her look intimidating with her small size. Okay then, going to assume you gave her a whip and a short sword, but the whip helps her control plants in the area, plus can poison, paralyze, or put her foes to sleep. Figured. And did you make her armor first or Minasu's first? Erica. She may have introduced me to her sister after the conflict was over. Figured. Now explain to me what you meant by... Here, just look at both their armors. Fine. Let's see the... Huh. Minasu does have a natural counterbalance. Yep. Smash. Not before me. What? What? Just a quick reminder, we have a Patreon set up. It's a great way to help support the channel. As a patron, you get access to monthly art polls, early access to content, and monthly art-related rewards, starting with character headshots. So if you can, head over to our Patreon to become a patron today, starting at $3 a month. Every little bit helps. Anyways, now back to the armors. Okay, did you hear that one? Again, didn't hear anything. I don't even understand what that voice was talking about. What is going on with me? Good, a distraction from how our conversation ended. How about one more set of armor for the road? Right, for the road. Since I for sure will be returning home after this. Not like I don't know where that book went after I got here. Ah, okay. This set of armor was commissioned by a warrior from the Roya clan, from the Edo Bay area. Don't you mean Tokyo Bay? No. This world is weird. Now just trying to figure out what monster this is. You do that. But they wanted to look menacing and scary. Probably some sort of power move to try and be more powerful than the Jira clan. They wanted to look like a dragon, so to start that I went with a wing-like motif with the helmet. Destroya? You made Destroya as a suit of armor? Kirito, Roya. I don't see or hear a difference here. Probably isn't one. But yeah, very dragon inspired. Put a giant horn in the front of it. Made it look like an open maw so you could see their mouth. A lot of spikes, especially some big ones on the pauldrons. And a lot of small ones around the lower torso area that were a pain to make. Even made the boots look like dragon claws. Okay, this armor sounds pretty epic. Oh, it was. You even gave it a cape that could be used as wings. How? Magic. I really did skip over the fact magic exists. And not even just in this world, it seems. It's all around us. It surrounds us and penetrates us. Stop that. No idea what you mean, but okay. My only complaint is I might have made their weapon, which is an axe, a bit too small. Show me. Yeah, kind of see it. Makes sense that they have an axe since their head does look like one. Also, why does the helmet look like an old Lego minifigure Batwing helmet? That wooden toy company in Denmark? Lego exists here? Wait, wooden toys? Oh right, that's what they started with before plastic was made. What's plastic? I'm not entirely sure what plastic is. Well, hope you enjoyed the stories. Feel free to come back anytime, Amelia. Right, I'll be going back home. Using a spell I don't remember in a book I don't have. Look, I could use an assistant, and I do know people that use magic that could possibly help you get back home. So how about you stay and help out here in the meantime? Wait, for real? Sure. Can tell you more about the armors I've made, and you can explain the thing they're similar to in your world. Thank you, Galvyn. No problem. Though you'll need a bit more muscle to help in the forge, gathering the materials, and fighting off the beasts of the world. So let's have a hearty dinner, and tomorrow, we'll start whipping you into shape. I wish that book took me to hell. even a musical hell. Or to a giant island made from a long-dead being in a boiling sea. Maybe a world of frog and reptile people. At least I didn't get hit by Truck-kun to get here. And that was Godzilla Kaiju as fantasy armor for the Godzilla Collab. This was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed Amelia and Galvyn, who will be our narrators for our fantasy armor videos. But what did you think of this? Let me know in the comments, along with other Godzilla Kaiju I can turn into fantasy armor, other series I can turn into fantasy armor, and other things I can do with Godzilla Kaiju. For more Godzilla content, we have when I turn free Kaiju into mermaids for a poll, and we have our first collab, where I turn Pal World Pals into stands, along with some of my best of videos to check out, like the Amazing Digital Circus as animatronics, and Ben 10 Aliens as Spider-Man. And of course, check out the other collaborators to see what they did with these 4 Kaiju, with Nerd Comics Inc. turning them into folklore monsters, KyngPin Creations turning them into Power Rangers, and Dempsey J Illustrations fusing some Kaiju together, along with Popcross Studios' Godzilla Grand Prix, where he'll be turning some Kaiju into dragons. And if you liked what you saw, then leave a like, and subscribe to join our growing Little Arcane Town, to be in the know for future videos, polls, projects, and collabs. I won't be surprised if we reach 1,000 subs really soon. For sure expect the 800 sub special in April. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later.